Hello, welcome back to the woods. Now in this video we're going to be talking about this, the humble wristwatch. Now for a lot of people the humble wristwatch has been superseded by this, their mobile phone. They're carrying it with them anyway, this will tell them the time and a whole lot more besides. But for me the humble wristwatch tells me a lot more than just the time. It allows me to get to places on time. It allows me to calculate distances, work out how long things have been cooking, work out direction, all from just my humble wristwatch. Now of the people who still do use a wristwatch, they seem to be divided into two camps. One is probably going to be the more high-tech user, someone who's got an iWatch perhaps not that brand, but something similar, you know what I mean, where they can check their email and they can check their social media, the number of steps they've done, all manner of different things just from their watch. The downside with those is, well, they do tend to run out of battery almost as quickly as your phone does, which is fairly frequently. The other type of watch user seems to be the more outdoory, rugged type person who will have a large outdoor watch that will not only tell them the time but will also tell them the number of feet they are above sea level, or at the flick of a button the barometric pressure, or indeed a compass, or the number of steps they've taken. Really good, superb watches for, well, that sort of environment where you're on the side of a mountain most of your life, which I'm not. I'm one of those people who's, well, I'm out in the woods or just going about my normal daily business, and all I want is a normal, basic, very little to go wrong watch. So what I want to do in this video is share with you what I'm looking for in an everyday watch, and also a few of the brands that I've had over the years that have worked very well for me and could equally work well for you. So the first thing I'm looking for in a watch is, well, simplicity. I want something that is easy to read. I don't have to keep putting my glasses on so that I can just tell the time. I want something that I can look at, glance down, and I can see what the time is. I don't want too many features on it. I don't want the face to be cluttered. I want it to be nice and simple. I don't particularly want a digital. An analog is better, something again that I can see without having to put my glasses on. The next thing I want after that is, well, something I can forget about. I don't want to have to spend time winding it. I don't want to have to change the battery. I don't particularly want to have to charge it up at any point. What I would much rather is something that powers itself. So it needs to be either an automatic or a kinetic, or ideally light powered, a solar powered watch. And again, continuing the theme of being able to forget about it, it needs to be waterproof. I don't want something that I've got to think, oh, I'm just getting in the shower, I need to take my watch off. Nor do I want to think, oh, I'm going swimming, better take my watch off. I want something that goes on my wrist, stays on my wrist, and I can pretty much forget about unless I need to tell the time. So there are a few manufacturers and models out there that do fit the actual criteria. The first one that I had any experience of, well, it was made by a company called Citizen, and it was one of their Eco Drive models. It was a present from my mum on my 40th birthday, so I've had it 16, nearly 17 years. And it's been a great piece of kit. It was one that they sold through Argos exclusively, and it's solar powered, so you set the time on it and you can forget about it. It was analog, it was waterproof, it was fairly scratch resistant, and I used it and used it and used it, and for the first 5 years it was about the only watch I ever wore, and it did take quite a battering in that time. It had a chronograph on it as well, and it's a very, very good watch. It certainly shows its age now, and it could do with going in for a service. The sweep hand on it seems to stick just in front of the 12 where it should be, but otherwise it's a good watch. The important thing is it still tells the time. Citizens still do the Eco Drive ones, and they do some very, very simple ones that have got a relatively uncluttered face. Because they're Eco Drive, they never need winding, and they are superb, and they're not badly priced. You can pick them up for anywhere between about 90 and a sort of £120 for the simple models, and they are very, very good, and I would heartily recommend them. So the next one that I'm going to recommend, well, I bought it because my Citizen, it was a present from my mum, and it was getting quite a battering, and it was starting to show some quite heavy signs of wear. So I looked around for something that met my criteria. Didn't ever need winding, ideally was solar powered, had a relatively uncluttered face, and what I found was they do something called a tough solar, and the actual model that I got, I'll put it in the links box down below. Looks like quite a big watch, but actually it's quite light in weight. It's a basic analog. It does have a little window on it which has your stopwatch and your time and your date. Personally, it's something I don't really ever use because the figures are so small in there. I need to put my glasses on, and I don't particularly want to have to do that. It is, as it says, a tough watch. It's waterproof, it's lightweight, it's self-winding because it's solar powered. When you get it, to set it, you just go through to find the time zone that you happen to be in, set it for, in my case, London, and it automatically adjusts to that time. So it's a really good, accurate watch. It's also very, very cheap. When I got it, I think it was £32, and I checked this week and they're now £39. Now the big mistake not to make is when you put in tough solar, the first ones that come up, it says tough solar G-Shock. If you get the G-Shock versions, well, you might as well add £100 to that. If you get this just straightforward tough solar versions, well, as I said, you can pick them up for less than £40, which is very, very reasonable in my opinion for a watch that I've had 10 years, that's seen a daily battering, and really is an excellent, excellent bit of kit. Now the next watch I'm going to talk about is from a company that you probably won't have heard of, and it's a company called Praesidus, which is an American company, and they assemble their watches in America. And the watch they sent me over was their A11 Tom Rice watch, which is basically a stylized copy of what was issued to American troops during World War II. And there's a whole story that goes with Tom Rice. He was a guy from the 82nd Airborne who parachuted into D-Day, and as he parachuted he lost his watch, and so they came up with this memorial model specifically for him. The actual watch itself, it's an automatic, which is the first time I've ever used an automatic. I've had it a few months. It hasn't lost any time whatsoever. It is waterproof. What I love about it is it's got such an uncluttered face. It's very, very easy to read. It's relatively lightweight. It is sort of old tech meets new tech because it's got a stainless steel case. It's got a mineral glass dome on the front of it, and it's got this automatic movement, which I believe is I think it's a Seiko movement. So it's a good, tried and tested quality movement in quite an unusual, simple housing. It's a great little watch, and I really, really like it. In fact, it's pretty much the only watch I've been wearing for the last few months. It's a really good piece of kit. With all of these watches, their performance is very, very good. You don't get particularly good luminosity. I think the Citizen ones of the three is the best luminosity, so if you're using one after dark and that is important to you, perhaps go for the Citizen. The Praesidus one, the luminosity is not great at all. However, because it's such an uncluttered face on it, it's easy to read. I've found it doesn't really make a great deal of difference. The Casio, again, luminosity isn't great. If you want something like that, then buy one of the, I don't know, Night ones or the Tracer ones, or Luminox, any of those that are known for having the tritium and the special glowing hands. If you're just looking for a bog standard watch that you can use every day, that's not going to let you down, that's easy to read most of the time when you're not asleep, then go for any of the three that I've just suggested. They are all worth checking out. Citizens, as I said, they're around about £100. The Casio, if you're in the budget market, less than £40. The Praesidus, I don't know what they cost over here in the States, they're about $250, which for something that's probably going to last you a lifetime, and there's no reason that it wouldn't, I think is pretty good value for money. So there you go, that is my guide to what I call EDC watches. Something you can wear every day, going about your normal business, that's not going to let you down and will always tell you the time, no matter what. Get out there, check them out. There are some good, uncomplicated watches out there that are great for everyday use. If you enjoyed this video and you found it useful, then remember, hit that thumbs up button, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. If you look in my links box down below, that will take you over to my merch shop. There's also a link in there to my Patreon page if you want to get involved with the channel and become a Patreon, and quite a few do. There's also a link to my Etsy shop. Pop yourself over there, get yourself one of my patches, either the woven or the leather ones, and there's also a few other bits. And in the next few weeks I will be stocking up with a whole load of old favourites, plus there's a couple of new items coming up as well, so keep your eyes on the shop. I think that's everything. I've been Neil. Until next time, stay safe.